Big River Rivalry, Richmond's High School All-Star Game coming up this on Saturday, December the 20th, 2025. This will be the North of the River versus the South of the River All-Stars, organized by the Richmond Touchdown Club. The game will be at Randolph-Macon College, Day Field. Kickoff is at high noon, 12 o'clock on that Saturday, and we've got a great announcement today. I want to introduce a couple of guys to my left. Go ahead, Bryce.
Bryce Fritz. I am the North Game Director for the Touchdown Club.
All right, to my right.
You know who I am.
Well, I know who you are, but let those people know who you are.
Jerry Criswell, Coach Chris. I'm not even sure how many years I've done it here, but it's been, I've been working for the station since '96. And so, but Gary and I are approaching 20 years together, so on the broadcast, and wish he was here, but I'm looking forward to talking about high school talent. It's one of my favorite subjects.
And to his right.
Danny Lewis, Virginia Preps, 13th year covering the region for the website.
And by the way, I'm Steve Adams, also with Sports Radio 910 The Fan. Because Gary's been out a little bit this year, I've been jumping in, handling the play-by-play duties, and really enjoying, love high school football. Long-time Douglas Freeman guy, but we'll cut it at that. So let's go ahead and get started. First with Bryce. Bryce, let's talk a little bit about the game. You know, this is the 11th year. Some of the great things that are be going on that Saturday over at Randolph-Macon.
Yeah, so this will be the 11th edition of this game. We've been doing it for a long time now. It's kind of working like clockwork. Some of the very, very big event that we have here. All the money, all the proceeds, everything goes to a local charity this year. It's going to Feed More,
Right.
Which is a program that really helps out a lot of our student athletes and a lot of our Richmond area, which is nice for us to do.
Excellent, excellent. So, all right, well, let's go ahead, and the South team is the designated home team this year. So let's bring in the head coach of the South team from Meadowbrook, Coach Billy Rudd. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Come on in.
Yeah, did you bring an extra hat for me?
I might have one for you. I might have one for a special.
Well, let's quickly just talk about. I'm sure you're obviously super excited to be the head coach of the South team. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, just honored, blessed with the opportunity to coach a lot of phenomenal athletes, especially in the south of the river. Guys that I've seen, I played against on Friday night.
Right.
And excited for this opportunity. Been a part of this, this game for the last 3 years now, and the things that Bryce and these guys are doing is just phenomenal for the community and for everybody that it's impacting in the future.
Right. Very good. Well, let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to start with the offense first, and then we'll catch up with the defense. For the offense, the quarterbacks for the South team: Landon Abernathy from Manchester, Preston McAfee from Cosby, Brian Moore from Hopewell, and Stanley Green from Petersburg. Gentlemen, comments about the quarterbacks for the South team?
Well, Bill, I got a quick question. First of all, they say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. What happens when you have 4 quarterbacks?
A lot of great football. These guys are phenomenal. I played against Stanley Green, obviously in the gauntlet in the Central District. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal athlete, an even better young man. He's been the starter there for 4 years. I think they're kind of changing some things up right now, using him in a couple of different ways here. But Coach Mathis is doing a great job, and then obviously Landon spins it very well. He's
Right.
one of the more decorated quarterbacks in our area. And the other 2 guys I'm excited to coach. Played against Moore over at Hopewell, big physical specimen type kid.
Used to be offensive tackle.
You could tell. I mean, he runs hard. And he throws the ball very well for his size. And the young man from Cosby, I've heard he's a tremendous athlete and can do kind of pretty much anything that you want him to do.
All right, we'll go a second with the running backs for the South team: Carson Parks from Trinity Episcopal, D.K. Chapman Jr. from Midlothian, Marquand Royal from Amelia, Josh Adams from Dinwiddie, and Jaden Height from Thomas Dale. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
It's a pretty good stable of running backs, I'd say.
Yeah.
Parks, did well at Trinity. Height was, part of a two-set.
Right.
Yeah,
Right field.
he and K. Hines.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there's more sharing this year, and I don't know how much it involves seniors that'll be in this game, but I got a shout out to the Adams family. They won a lot of, they had a big fall. Mom won an election. I don't know if y'all realize that or not. She won the House of Delegates election, and he was playing through, and
Yeah.
it's another win for Billy.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, he was a little banged up the week that we played him, but he's a phenomenal kid. I know the Height kid is as good as they come. Kevin has a kind of that 2-horse stable down there, and right when you think one of them's getting tired, here comes another one coming right in, and they're phenomenal talent. Coach Neal out there at Amelia is doing a great job out there. I'm excited to meet his running back. I've heard a lot of great things. DK Chapman's been a staple over there in that Midlothian program,
Right.
bringing a lot of success, a lot of wins for them. So, obviously Carson, I think he's a 1,000-yard rusher this year. Phenomenal talent. So excited to coach their group.
All right, let's get to the wide receivers. Ben Whitver from Powhatan, Deshaun Singleton from Meadowbrook. I think you know him. Malik Porter, Huguenot. Aiden Spencer, Monacan, and Daniel Lewis from Thomas Dale. Quick comments on those guys.
Ben Whitver, I think his name speaks for himself.
Yeah.
What he did at Powhatan for
Right.
4 years. Aiden Spencer, I know Monacan didn't do quite as well as some would hope, but he had a phenomenal season there.
Well, if you're coming out of the Huguenot stable, there's some pedigree in there somewhere as far as Malik Porter is, like a lot of their skilled people, liable to be a factor in many parts of the game. And I'll tell you, that's the fun part of All-Star games. It's the thing that cancels the fact that you can't really put a lot. I mean, we could talk about it later on maybe. You guys, I don't know how many plays you're going to go out there. I've got a wristband that I found on the ground one time that had all the plays on it. I should have brought it today.
Right.
But I think one of the great things about All-Star games is finding talented people that all of a sudden can show you in 1 or 2 plays that they're the hot hand.
For sure.
And I think, and I'll make another comment about the Chapman kid as a running back. I thought he was on the verge of really, really popping out.
Yeah.
And I think they had some other uses for him and things like that. But that's a good group.
All right, let's go with the offensive line. At the center spot, Sean Goodwin from Matoaka, Travis Thompson from LC Bird.
Goodwin, I mean, he was blocking for Zion and
Yep.
that Dinwiddie offense, which was pretty potent up until this week. That's a pretty good offensive line.
Yeah, offensive line is got to be one of the. Bryce can speak to this. It's one of those things where that's the personality group. I think when you come in here, those are the guys that said their jolly old fat uncle comes in, and has a good time. I think, but it also kind of determines the winners here. So I don't know how y'all planning on. I guess you're doing a bunch of zone stuff and
Well, we'll wait and see on the 20th. We'll see what we got.
Don't give everything away.
The magician doesn't reveal all his tricks, but yeah. But I mean, you got anybody that knows football. You have to win in the trenches. To win games on Friday night, you have to win in the trenches. And I'm excited about this group of bigs. Coach Stutes down in Matoaka does a phenomenal job. He's a former O-line guy as well, so I'm excited to work with those guys.
All right, let's catch up on the guards. We've got Juan Garcia from James River, Joseph Massaquoi from Petersburg, Parker Tarantino from Midlothian, and Andrew Luter from Meadowbrook. There's 4 really good guys, right?
Yeah,
Andrew, he played for you.
Yeah. Luter's a big-time kid for us. High motor kid, just a technician with his hands, with his feet. He's a four-year wrestler as well, and that translates. We got a lot of our young guys wrestling. We want our dual sport athletes, but the young man from Petersburg, I mean, he's a physical specimen. He is enormous and a very, very talented young man. So that's a good group. I'm excited to get after it with that group, and let's see what these trenches can do.
All right, let's go to the tackles. We've got Rylan Gross from Amelia. We've got Theo Schaefer from Clover Hill, Tyree Dickerson from Huguenot, and Jordan Johnson Lee from Huguenot as well. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, those guys, you know, that's where you make your money, at those tackle positions, you
Yep.
know, and, you know, you have a lot of guys on this list that are still playing, you know, so, very talented young men, and that's one thing about this All-Star game is it's refreshing as a coach to come in and you're dealing with high IQ type kids already, so, you know, they're ready, and all the coaches in this area have done a great job preparing them for this moment, and we're excited.
So,
Yeah, like Coach said, you know, you got a couple of them still playing. I mean, I think about the Huguenot guys.
yeah,
You know, Charles Scott Jr. can be so successful because he's got two guys like that helping, keeping the pressure off of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they when I explained Huguenot, they've got a core situation with them with the offensive line. The offensive line is not anybody spectacular. Nobody you think. I'd love to see a couple of them play at the next level, but they don't jump out at you like that. And they're kind of the same way with the defensive tackle, but they're perfect because they're actually very, very. They get a lot done. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and we saw them first part of the year and the middle part of the year, and then a little bit closer to the end. And they've come along as a group, so that should be I would love to have two offensive linemen coming over to an all-star game like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
At the same time.
the kicking specialist, the place kicker for the South team will be Joel Garcia de la Cruz from Dinwiddie, and the punter will be Grant Horvath from Cosby.
Yeah.
So a really good PK and a really good punter right there.
Yeah, they're studs, man. You know, the Grant kid, I mean, he's a special talent. Joel, you know, I mean, you know, anybody that comes from that Billy Mills realm down there is phenomenal. I mean, he's putting the ball in the back of the end zone on kickoffs and stuff, so big time leg for them.
All right, we're going to switch up to the defense for the South team. On defensive ends, we've got Kevin Brown from Meadowbrook. We've got Eric Johnson from Huguenot, Josiah Chalkley from Clover Hill, and Jack Brotherington from Trinity Episcopal. Comments?
Yeah, Jack's a big boy. Jack's a physical specimen as well. You know, my guy Kevin Brown, pass rush specialist, 6'5", you know, 220-pound kid. Got him off the basketball court, so you know he's got that twitch coming off the edge, and we're excited. You know, sorry to lose him this year, but excited to see him showcase his talent. You know, in a moment like this, and you know those other guys. Obviously, you know, Eric's still playing this week and stuff. So,
Right.
We played against Josiah. You know, great kid, great kid.
I saw Kevin twice this year. He's a phenomenal talent on defense. He gets after that ball.
Yeah.
You know what I like about these situations where we got these guys coming in, the guys that are having, you know, they're having rebuilds, you know, the Clover Hill, the Monacan kids, your kids, you know, through the last couple of years. That's one of the joys of this game, because you get there and you see a little extra spark.
Yeah.
You see a little bit, you know, because they know if they can take care of their business, especially, you know, in the interior, if they can take care of their business, they don't have to worry about somebody that not playing at the same level they are. And it's fun to watch those kids enjoy that situation. And that, as coaches, that I feel like that's the thing that you guys can bring to the table, because this ain't the easiest thing to do.
Right.
Is get everybody in here for a week.
We get 4 days.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you know, I look forward to seeing what you guys can come up with.
All right, defensive tackles for the South team. Trayshawn Williams from Monacan. T-Ron Richardson from Hopewell, the big one. Cole Lineberger, who plays 99.999% of the time for Thomas Dale. And Landon Martin from Powhatan. And one more, we've got Owen Pound from Cosby. That's a great group of young men right there.
We're excited. You know, I'm glad they're on my team.
Yeah.
You know, so playing Mr. Oklahoma, T-Ron down there in Hopewell, I mean, a physical specimen. You know, can't say enough about Lineberger, Mr. Do-It-All. Also a four-year wrestler. Big time translation there, but you know, that's a strong group. I mean, I'm glad they're on my side.
Yeah, we finally found out Cole Lineberger came off one play against Manchester last week, I think, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
probably
well,
over the top.
Yeah.
He came off, and they wouldn't let him back on.
that's right.
Because they have more business to take care of later
There you
on this week.
Danny? Okay.
The Lineberger and T-Ron, I mean, 55 tackles for a loss this season between the two of them. I know it's the All-Star game, we see a lot of scoring, but those two will make a difference on the field for sure.
Good deal. Of course, Cole Lineberger's headed to the Naval Academy next year.
If you look at the joy of an all-star game, we've been lucky to have this situation happen before where we've got a top recruit that decided still to play, because at one time the higher you were up in the AP top 20, the less opportunity they're going to let him play. So I hope T-Ron can do that, because it gives him an opportunity. Because I don't know, I realize the rules have changed and the conditions of the game are different. You got to fly over a lot of defensive tackles to get to Hopewell from Oklahoma, and so these guys need to kind of pay back the data and the feedback that people that are students of the game look for when you watch it, when they're doing that. So don't screw them up, Billy.
All right, let's head to the linebackers. Inside linebackers first. We've got Keen Friedman from James River. We've got Nolan Lee from Prince George, Marcus West from L.C. Byrd, Xavier Scott from Petersburg, and Drew Mirachuk from Midlothian. Thoughts? Yeah, good group there.
Great group. Obviously, the legend Tom Hall down there in Prince George, has those guys playing some really tough football, hard-nosed type kids. And I've known Nolan for a while now, 4 years. He's been a starter down there, so he's phenomenal talent. Keene was from James River. He looks the part. He's jacked. He's a phenomenal leader. We did some inter-squad stuff with him over the summer. And just a phenomenal kid. Xavier Scott, coach's son, so his IQ is through the roof. He's been playing down there. He was a terror when we played him. He was sideline to sideline, north and south. He's kind of a Mr. Do-It-All for them as well. Plays some offense. Actually, does some kicking for them too.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And they're still playing, as well. So that's a great group to have.
Gentlemen?
Marcus West, L.C. Byrd, they didn't have quite the season we're accustomed to on defense, but he still recorded 72 tackles. He's a phenomenal defensive player himself.
All right, let me ask you, rule-wise, they are not blitzing?
So you cannot blitz. You cannot blitz from depth. You have to show. A stand at the line of scrimmage.
That's no fun.
Yeah. Well,
All right, let's head to the OLBs, outside linebackers. Hezekiah Anderson from Richmond High School for the Arts, Robert Petaway from Dinwiddie, DeAndre Mitchell, Prince George, Ben Rosen, Trinity Episcopal, and Mike Davis from Thomas Dale.
Sure.
Great talent right there.
Yeah, you can't say enough about the disruption that Petaway caused down there at Dinwiddie.
Right.
Hezekiah, he's a kid that doesn't get a lot of shine, from Richmond, but he's a stud. I'm excited to have him. We scrimmaged him early in the preseason, and he's the real deal. And then the other guys coming off the edge, my guy from Petersburg, and then Ben, they're exceptional talents. And again, I keep going through this roster, and I'm just glad that they're on my side.
Right.
Mike Davis is a tackling machine.
Yeah,
Mike
he
Davis is a real deal.
Yeah.
He's listed as an OLB. When we played him, he was sitting right in the middle of that field,
Right.
and it's one of those. You run right, Mike's tackling. You run left, Mike's tackling. If he can get there before Cole did, before Lineberger
Right.
did. But actually, sneak tip about Mike, he's a great golfer too. I played golf with him a few times. He might beat you once or twice, Gary. So, but he's a phenomenal kid, man, and excited for that group.
It depends on if he lets me hold a pencil or not.
Yeah, Mike wore number 11 last week for Thomas Dale. That's a special number down there, if you know anything about that. And he wore number 11 in the Manchester game, by the way. All right, let's go to the defensive backs. At the cornerback position, Mike Benson from Richmond High School for the Arts, Antonio Turner from Manchester, Christian Jure from James River, and Nyland Mason from Dinwiddie.
Yeah, great talents. Antonio Dub, I think he's committed to go play at Hampton, I believe. A top-notch talent. You know, they got some guys over there. The James River kid, I think it was Christian. He's a long, good DB for them. And then obviously, you know, guys coming out of Dinwiddie, you know what they're going to represent. You know, and he played very well against us and Island. And long kid, fast, rangy, perfect for a DB.
Good.
Yeah, Mike Benson, Richmond, you know, one of the things about this All-Star game, for us to cover this area and the sport, we can't see everybody every Friday night.
Right.
And this lets us see guys like a Mike Benson, Hezekiah Anderson,
Absolutely.
see what their game is all about before they go to the next level.
The, again, I'd like to see an atmosphere where these guys can shine. Basically, what do you plan on doing defensively? Kevin can leave a room right now if he wants
Yeah,
to.
I don't know if my guys are. No, we're just trying to just put these kids in a great position. You know, obviously you got to be vanilla in these type of games, and you know, my defensive coordinator, Coach Tobias, he's on staff with me at Meadowbrook. Phenomenal mind, so he's chomping at the bits to get started. He's already going over his practice plans and what he's going to do and stuff. So the cool thing about this is, yes, you only have 4 days, but you have high IQ kids, so you can throw a lot at them, and they'll be able to adjust, and they'll be able to, you know, to run with it. And so, you know, we're going to put them into some situations. We're also going to challenge them to make plays. This is an opportunity for them. There's going to be a lot of college coaches here at practices and at the games. This is a chance to showcase your talent. You know, like you said, for some of the guys that didn't get that much praise in the regular season,
Exactly.
you know, this is their chance. So, you know, we're going to give everybody an opportunity.
I'm just curious about. Well, I'll tell you what I like. What I've been impressed with is some of these games you go to and the defense is actually communicating with each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're holding up. There's a change in unison. The right signal comes across everybody, and to see that kind of thing, because if like you said, the ball doesn't always come to a guy, so he's not going to be able to see how well he challenges for the ball when it's in the air. But I mean, just the polish that you see or that you can put on on a kid before he goes out there is impressive to me. And you know, I've had conversations after games with kids that, you know, I think of one right now that's at BMI, that with kids that didn't have a deal. You know, and you know, they don't always hang up on me when I call these college coaches, and so you know, and we've been able to work out some stuff, and I think that's got to be part of the draw. And it's had a right spot. It's had the right amount of emphasis put on it.
Yeah.
The games have been remarkably good because the guys that run the practices and Bryce allows stuff to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's head to the strong safeties. Kamari Holmes from Colonial Heights, Jalen Pinson from Matoka, and Tamari Buford from Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Comments there?
I mean, played all three of those guys in that Central District, man. And Kamari is one of those kids didn't get or doesn't get a lot of praise right now. You know, with Colonial Heights having a little bit of a rough year, but great talent. I mean, a physical kid, you know, true strong safety. You know, come take your face off. You know, actually was playing kind of a lot of in the box for them this year. Jalen Pinson, I mean, can't speak highly of a kid. I mean, he's a coach's dream. I had him when I was at Matoka before I came over here as a youngin, and one of those kids that just, you know, yes, coach. You know, whatever I need, you know, yes, coach. And great talent. Excited to see what he does. You know, and then again, you know, the Mills factory down there in Dinwiddie, and having that young man, you know, playing in that edge role, kind of running that alley for them. He was a great kid this year.
I tell you what, let's go right into the free safeties, and we'll wrap up the South team. Josh Jiggets from LC Bird, Jaden Ballard, WVU commit, I believe, from Manchester, and Jeremy Blakeney also from Manchester. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I had Jiggets again at Matoka before I came over here. Phenomenal kid, old school safety. He's going to run that alley. He's going to also play over the top. Long, rangy kid. And then Jaden, you know, physical, very physical,
Yeah.
free safety, listed as a free safety, but I mean, he's that kid that at the snap of the football, he's going to find contact somewhere. And obviously, another big time commit, going to West Virginia, which is great for us. And then Jeremy, another phenomenal kid. The defense coordinator from Manchester teaches in our building, and I talk to him all the time. And he speaks extremely highly of those two guys, and we're excited.
Guys?
Lancers were a very good defense this year.
Yeah, they were.
You've got a couple of them in there. That's going to be excellent for you.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed it when you have unit guys from the same team. It's a little bit more shorthand that the coaching staff.
And it helps with some of the communication, like you were talking about earlier.
Right.
Football is a beautiful sport, but at the end of the day, there's only but so many things you can do. It's just about whose terminology can match up. There's only a couple ways to play cover three, a couple ways to play man. It's just getting them on that same page and get that terminology. But that defensive side is going to bite.
Well, that wraps up the South team. So, Coach, best of luck.
That's
Thanks
right.
for coming in here.
All right.
And we'll see you on the 20th.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, let's bring in the head coach of the North team, Kevin Simons from Douglas Freeman. Coach,
Gentlemen,
how you doing?
feeling very good right now.
Good deal. Your comments, obviously, you're excited to be the head coach of the team north of the river, and your quick comments on that.
Yeah, I got a chance to actually help coach with Pruitt last year
Right.
on the team, and unbelievable game. I think we talked about defenses having a role in that game. That was a pretty tight game. In fact, went into overtime. And so the neat thing is that you get to coach some of these guys that you are spending so much time game planning for.
Right.
And you work through a lot of these things, and then when you get to meet a lot of them in person and you get to kind of work with them, you kind of see a whole different side. And some of the times you're just like, I just feel blessed that I got the opportunity to kind of be on this field with you, and a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, let's get right to it. Go ahead.
Can I make a request real quick?
Go right ahead.
Can we start with Bitsko?
We got to start with the quarterbacks.
No, we don't.
That's what that guy said right there. So
I like that dude.
let's we'll get to him. We'll get to him. All right, let's go with the quarterbacks for the North team. Ben Christian from New Kent, Chase Roberts from St. Christopher's, Anthony Handsome from Armstrong, and this guy's been there forever. Ben Yane from Hermitage. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Well, Ben and
Yeah.
Anthony are still playing this
Yeah,
weekend.
absolutely they are.
It's funny, Anthony's been a backup in 2 different places, but he's excelled at Armstrong this year, and I think he'll put on a show on December 20th.
I look at the quarterback class, and one thing jumped out at me. There's one quarterback that has a Huguenot pelt on his belt. Chase Roberts.
Yeah.
And he was a big factor when he started getting the RPO going and started reading, getting his reads up and keeping the ball. It changed the momentum of the game while teams were still trying to figure out what they were going to do, because both those teams looked a little rusty coming out of the preseason. But anyway, that was what jumped out at me right off the bat.
When I made the comment that it's neat that you spend so much time game planning against somebody, and then you kind of get to actually work with them. Ben Yane, talk about just a dynamic athlete in general. Probably could be your starting wide receiver, your starting running back. I mean, he can do it all. I do know Chase Roberts. I got a chance to kind of watch him grow up a little bit. Obviously, we know his dad, and gotten a chance, and of course against Luke, his younger brother.
Right.
But Chase has taken every opportunity he's been given and really run with it, literally, and done some great things. And so I'm looking forward to actually getting to coach him and being around him, because again, I've always enjoyed being around the family.
All right, running backs for the North team. Eric Bird, Howland Springs. He's got a game Friday. J.J. Parker, Hanover. Avery Curtis, Hermitage. He's playing against Bird on Friday. Sam Farkas, Goochland, and Dayron Ferguson, T.J. And he's playing, that's right.
Yeah, well, I'll say out of all those guys, we played a bunch against them.
Yeah, a bunch of those guys,
J.J.
yeah.
Parker, he stands out. I mean, just a physical specimen, but an incredibly hard runner, and I'm looking forward to having him. But then, obviously Eric Bird, Howland Springs. We played against them last year.
Right.
In the regular season. Dayron Ferguson played against them when he was at Howland Springs, and then again played against them when he's at TJ. And then, of course, Avery Curtis having just an unbelievable year.
Really, big time.
You blink and he's already 20 yards downfield. And so to have that almost a legitimate thunder and lightning type backfield with Payne or Ferguson and Duron Ferguson and Bird and then Curtis and then having JJ, it's pretty cool to see. And then I know that Sam Farkas, I mean, he's a bull. He's like, he'll get into your crawl and hit you.
Guys,
It's ironic that Curtis and
Eric Bird.
Bird, excuse me,
Yeah.
yeah, are playing each other this week.
Second time
It's
in a month, yeah.
Curtis really impressed me when I saw him against Highland Springs. Shifty and speedy, and like Coach said, he can get down the field in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, he's been dominant, and they've done a great job, and they kind of put the reins on the quarterback down in Roanoke, and they just said, y'all got to stop Curtis before we're going to get the, because Yane is, he's just so shifty, and I will tell you, the Springlers will have their hands full because
I think they did earlier this year.
Yeah, they did,
yeah, I was going to say
3-point game earlier. So.
Yane literally made it hard on the officials. He was moving around so much, and all the grabs were when he changed directions for the most part. And I got to throw this tip in because it's an inside joke between Hess and I. But Duron Ferguson, his father, was the fastest guy I'd ever seen in a football uniform when he played at Huguenot.
Do you have more eligibility?
Yeah.
In some states.
All right, let's head to the wide receivers for the North team. Andy Hanks from St. Christopher's, Trey Rogers, Varina, Chandre Williams, Varina, Bryce Robinson, Hermitage, Blake Morris, Caroline, Davis Fisher, Glenn Allen, and David Miller, TJ. Two more. David Miller, TJ, and Amari Go, TJ. Guys, there's 8 receivers on the north side.
We played against both wide receivers from TJ,
Right.
and we've had to figure out how we were going to, it's almost like you flip a coin, all right, who are you going to try and work with, and then hope that the other guy trips over his shoelaces or something. You got to hope for something because they're just both dynamic guys. Fisher from Glen Allen, I mean, he's just one of those guys, it reminds me of like kind of a Ricky Prohl, old school, just catches everything
Yeah.
thrown in his direction. Whether it's a short pass, long pass, goes up for it, comes down with it. And a couple of these other guys, I've kind of caught a little bit glimpse of them on film, and it's exciting. I think Billy made a good point earlier. It's like we're trying to put some puzzle pieces together and see how we can just let these guys shine. And there's a lot of good guys in that group.
Yeah, I'll throw in Bryce Robinson. I've seen him play 3 times this year.
Yeah.
He can return punts. He can return kickoffs. He can throw it. He can run it out the backfield, and he can go and catch it too. He's kind of like that Swiss Army knife guy, and he can go after it and get it.
That's the best room in the All-Star game right there. Is that wide receiver room for that group? Don't screw it up.
All right,
Screw it up.
offensive line for the North squad. At the center position, Corey McPherson, King William, and you'll know this guy well, Hank Beach, Douglas Freeman.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean, you know Beach better than anybody, but
You got to talk about that TJ game.
Hank in general is just, and I've mentioned it before, he is like the epitome of what our program's offensive line is like. Just that gritty, get after it, first to come, show up, last to leave, weight room. Naval Academy, I'm glad that our country's in his hands when he graduates. Just a great young man, and I've had the privilege of working with him for the last 4 seasons in high school, and then got to see him in middle school as well. And great family, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what he can do, because he always thrives when he's got good competition against him. He really does step up and plays to that level, and I'm looking forward to watching him play it.
The name is really familiar to me, and I'm a big admirer. He had a great 60-year eligibility this year.
All right, moving on. Let's head to the guard position for the North squad. Blake Johnson from Varina, Clement Sinclair, Glenn Allen, Braden Lane, J.R. Tucker, and Leroy Cosby, TJ. Guys?
Cosby, he's on the offensive line. He does well on defense too, but he is a physical guy. If you've seen TJ play, he'll get his hands on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a guy on film as we were kind of preparing for things. He is one of those guys that just does stand out to you. Usually it was taking two guys to kind of control him, and then you just kind of hoped you run the opposite direction whenever he was coming downhill.
All right, let's head to the tackles for the North squad. Devon Epps from Armstrong, Tristan Aguilar from Patrick Henry, Connor McGrady from Atlee, and Bryson Bristow from Hanover. Guys?
Ups.
Yep.
He's massive.
He makes me feel like a kid. He's so massive. So I think that says enough there. Bristow's done a phenomenal job at Hanover this year.
And he's seemingly, there's been somebody named Bristow or Elam or some, you know, and they have overtones in high school athletics, that type of thing. So anybody that comes out of the Hanover program with the offensive lineman, you know, as a determining factor is going to show up good. I like the McGrady kid, and I like, you know, and Atlee has had some sneaky good appearances in the All-Star games, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what's causing that, but you know, again, it's a lot of fun. One thing I want people to remember, this is, and to this day, and it's been 20-some years, 25 years since I've been on the road recruiting, and I will rest assured, offensive line, evaluating offensive line for the next level, except for the handful of kids that you know they're going to be fine, is the most difficult thing in college in evaluating talent. And at any level, and the smaller the school, the smaller the district, the lower the classification as far as school size, the harder the evaluation is. So all-star games like this help immensely.
I've always loved offense. That's what I coached, you know, from our guys and going in. It's the whole mindset. If you win the trenches, you usually win the game. And so obviously both sides, North and South, have tremendous big name players. And you know, I think Billy and I's choice is just going to be like, all right, let's put the puzzle pieces together and let's see who wins their challenge that down. Because it might be one down, South's going to win it. Next down, North's going to win it. It's going to be that way all day long.
Do y'all plan to hit and all during practice?
Oh yeah. Yeah, why not? It's
football.
football. I would think it is football.
Maybe I ought to spend a little bit more time on the practice field, I guess.
All right, specialist. Now, for the place kicker from Douglas Freeman, Kyle Bitsko, punter from J.R. Tucker, Ryland Sumner. Obviously, you know Kyle very well.
Kyle has been one of the most dominant kickers for the last couple of years. Started for us as a sophomore, as a first-team All-Region and a second-team All-State guy. His sophomore year has been on, and he's kicked balls that are out of the back of the end zone this season, and just consistent with a powerful leg. But I'd say, other than him just being an incredible kicker, because he's kicked 50 and 53-yard field goals this season, it's the tremendous teammate that he has been to our guys. You know, you're on the field to kick off, and then they kick an extra point or a field goal, and then the rest of the time you're kind of on the sideline.
Yeah.
And his demeanor up and down the sideline, firing guys up. I mean, there's a reason why he was selected to be one of our captains this year. He's just a great young man.
Does he have a deal on the next level?
Yeah, I was going to ask about next level.
You know, the thing that's crazy about the whole recruiting process right now with the college and how it's just changed is kickers are always the last ones that they want to offer to. So we've heard from a plethora of Division I schools that have said, we'll wait until January. You know, once the portal stuff is taken care of and then see what they have. I mean, I know University of Richmond's already told him that he's got a spot on the team.
Yeah.
And
I was going to instantly tell you that was going to happen.
yeah, but I mean, we've heard from a lot of schools, ACC, Big Ten schools that are very, very interested in having him on their board. It's just, what does the rest of the transfer portal trickle down to, and what do they have? But he's going to make somebody very happy.
All right, let's get to the defensive squad for the North. At the defensive end position, Jervell Barksdale, Verina, Riley Edelman, Atlee, Angelo Toure, Caroline, and Paul Pritchett, Benedictine. Guys,
I think about Barksdale, you
Yeah.
know, that Verona
Playmaker.
defense.
playmaker,
nasty,
playmaker,
you know,
playmaker, yeah.
You're on a defense like that, you gotta be doing something right.
Yeah.
He's part of the law firm that we talk about, the Verona law firm of Barksdale, Johnson, and the other two. And all they do is make plays. All they do is make plays all the time.
The Pritchard kid, haven't seen Benedictine a couple times this year in short spurts. First halves of games.
Right.
Their offensive defensive line play. If this guy stands out among those guys, then you got to give him a look. I think he's a tiny bit short for the next level, but no, I mean, isn't he like 6'2" or something like that? I was looking at it today.
I don't have that in front of me.
But that's all right. But yeah, that's a good group. And defensive linemen have a tendency in all-star games to kind of take things over.
Well, yeah, I think defensive line, especially when you talk about the fact that you're taking offensive line. Most offensive linemen, if you've had them for a couple years, there is a continuity that they have. There's a feel. The guy to your right, guy to your left. It's just a flow that you have in the game when you make calls. When you have an all-star game, you have all these different guys, their skill levels, whether they are zone guys, gap scheme guys, whatever it might be. You try and meld that together. And sometimes, if you've got the right mixture, you've got a great look. But sometimes, the defensive linemen, where they got to pin their ears back and they know how to shoot a gap and somebody doesn't communicate right, I mean, that's where the defensive line definitely can take over.
All right, let's go to D tackle position. Seth Hardy from Mechanicsville, Josh Gaskell from Goochland, Aaron Atkins from Collegiate, and Nick Perillion from Mills Godwin. Guys?
Yeah, I'll say the Hardy kid from
Mechanicsville.
We played against them last couple of years. We didn't the schedule changeover this year. We didn't play him, but he's a guy that's usually stood out. Again, not overly big in the sense of tall, but a stocky guy that just shoots gaps and can make plays. And you watch film, he's in the backfield a whole lot.
Godwin wasn't known for their defense this year, but quietly Nick racked up 74 tackles, 15 for a loss. He can definitely get it done on that side of the field.
That's pretty good. We'll take that, right? All right, let's go linebacker position for the North squad. We'll start with the inside linebackers first. Bobby Nadar from Deep Run, Javion Poindexter from Patrick Henry, Donzel Jones from Teal from Armstrong, and Trevor Quisenberry from Mechanicsville. Guys?
Jones Teal had over 100 tackles this year. That defense that they have over there on Cool Lane is legit.
Yeah.
You could almost make an all-star team out of that defense.
And they obviously got a huge game coming up Friday night against Pocosin.
Yes.
So looking forward to that one. So
I was looking, and I agree with Jones Teal because he was the one that I carried away from the times I was able to see them live, and that defense is. I'm glad to give you giving them the recognition here, so we got it on tape because they're that's a program that's been built the right way. If a little bit dirty under the fingernails, just a lot of toughness, not a lot of style. They could have gone to the lights of Hovey Field, and I'm sure. And no, I'd take them on Cool Lane too. I'm sure Pocosin's going to love that drive in there. And it's just it's a fun time right now, and I was excited for the way the city schools did participate this year, and of course the two teams that are excelling right now is it's a different game, but it's a better sport when the city of Richmond is playing well.
We didn't get to play the Armstrongs and the Cancells this year. But I will say that the Bobby Nader, the Deep Run, their defense was much better this year, and they really showed out, and he's one of those reasons. And so, again, I'm looking forward to being able to coach. And we have Coach Blanchard, our defense coordinator, who's going to work with the defense, and an All-American at University of Richmond has done some great things.
Still scares me. Still the only assistant coach that scares me.
But he's looking forward to coaching up these guys.
I was going to ask you about that, and I don't know if we don't have I guess we can pick up Billy over there. Who's going to be y'all's assistants? That's the.
Yeah, I know we got a couple of Freeman staff are gonna step in. And,
Yeah, well, that's
Blanchard's gonna do the defense, and we got a couple guys, but I think coaches from Coach Pruitt's gonna come over again from Armstrong, and I know Jean-Pierre from Hermitage is gonna be helping me out, and so and maybe a couple other guys. I know that Atlee we reached out to Coach Gray, but I think his O-line guy, who is a tremendous offensive line guy, is gonna come over and help us out possibly. So. I forget his name. He was talking Stout.
I figured it was
Coach Stout.
Yeah.
But I know that we've got a couple guys that the staff always kind of gets figured out, trickled down as we go through to see who's still available, who can do it, who can't. So, but I know that the guys that we have, and I know the South is going to have it. That there's guys that have been a part of our programs and kind of know how we run things and how we do things. So it's gonna be fun to kind of mix with people.
It's been trending like that a little bit too. Where you bring a couple of your own guys, because let's face it, you got to have your own guys when you're coaching, especially in a short time period like that.
All right, let's get to the outside linebackers for the North squad. J.J. Archer, Highland Springs. Q. Gilliam, Glenn Allen, Chase Wiles, New Kent, Patrick Liptrap Hanover, and Stevie Walton, King William. Good group of linebackers, guys.
Yeah, two guys that stand out for me, Archer at Highland Springs.
Yep.
I think in the Hermitage game, I heard his name mentioned half a dozen times, getting his hands on guys. And then Patrick Liptrap at Hanover.
Yeah.
He is legit.
Good deal.
I like both those guys, and then Gilliam. He's
from Glen Allen,
from glad you hear his name called a lot when he's on the field.
Yeah. The Glen Allen perimeter people were good on both sides of the football this year.
All right, defensive backs. First, we'll start out with the corners. Lamont Wilson, John Marshall, Chad Young, Henrico, Devin Simmons, Highland Springs, Antone Buddy Richardson, Highland Springs, and Masua Bailey from Henrico. Good group of DBs right there.
Couple guys playing this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a coach's son on top of that with Simmons, so he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Antoine Richardson, people should come out just to watch him because he's just a flat baller, and if he gets to the point where he can concentrate on just one side of the football.
Oh yeah.
And that's up to you, Kevin. There's going to be a reward there. And the kid from did you slide down to free safety or you?
We got free safeties coming up in a minute.
Okay.
All right, strong safeties. One, Ronald Jackson from Armstrong, played this weekend as well. Maybe Danny gives a quick thought on RJ there.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys, 100+ tackles. I mean, just an incredible team they have, and I'm glad to see both of those guys, him and his teammate Donzel, on defense this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
And I'll finish up with the free safeties. Cullen Birch from Deep Run, Caleb Fisher from Freeman, and Noah Wilborn from Mills Godwin.
I'll start off with Caleb Fisher, who's one of our guys. He actually won our Iron Maverick, our Iron Man award, because he was another guy that just very rarely came off the field.
Yeah.
Was a running back, blocking back, receiving back, and then played in the secondary and kind of helped get everything set up back there. Just a great athlete who's just got a nose for the football. We're going to be going to Hampton-Sydney potentially here that next fall, and so looking forward to getting to coach him at one more game. It'll be fun, and then of course those other guys, Birch, they're pretty good.
One of the fun things for us when we're doing an all-star game is to look at a guy like Cullen Birch, and then relate to the fact that on his side of the football, that's why all of a sudden they stopped. They stopped the downward trend that they had going on, and they started building something positive based on that. And that's always fun to look at, and have a kid, be able to get a chance to, sign off on a senior year, make a senior year memorable. Maybe when the first 2 or 3 years weren't so memorable. That's a cool thing about the All-Star game.
Well, guys, that will wrap it up. The teams from the North and the South, again, the Big River Rivalry game will kick off. The 11th annual Big River Rivalry game will kick off Saturday, December the 20th, up at Randolph-Macon College at Day Field. Kickoff is high noon, 12 o'clock. Get out there again, organized by the Richmond Touchdown Club. And if you are looking to also be a sponsor, there's some opportunities there. Check out the Richmond Touchdown Club website for more information. So appreciate all you guys watching. Congratulations to a great group of high school seniors. Good luck to the guys who are playing this weekend, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you,
Happy
Oscar.
Thanksgiving.
And thank you, Oscar.